Is emotional disassociation and delayed emotional response normal in someone with trauma-based PTSD? Everyone's symptoms are different. So those could be emotional disassociation, absolutely, could be a symptom, absolutely. Yes, because everyone's response is different. And delayed emotional response. Yes, it's normal, but in the context of, because in the DSM it's like a broad range of symptoms. But so the answer is yes, but everyone's symptoms are like a little different, and the DSM just gives a list of different symptoms. Yes, delayed emotional response. Someone might disassociate because of their trauma. Yes, I need to look at the DSM criteria for PTSD just to see, because I can't remember if emotional disassociation is a part of it.
The other half of this must be somewhere. Jessica would have left a hangman somewhere.
But one way or another, yes,
Berlin to
you would anticipate to have emotional disassociation would be a symptom that a person might experience, and like a sense of like emotional numbness. However, in some cases, no emotional response. When you think about that one, because that's how it looks on the outside. A person might appear numb, but that doesn't mean that they're not having some sort of physiological reaction. It could also be a sign of autism based on what emotional disassociation. The more that I do psychology, the more that I research about it, the more that I discover that multiple symptoms can present across different conditions. So without getting like a background and history check of the individual, like,
thank you,
it's hard to really know. And as our systems for diagnosing get better and science gets more advanced, we're relying, I would imagine we should shift away a little bit more from self-reports and rely more. I think the next generation of psychologists, including myself, should be trained up on more MRI, CAT scan, and blood tests based assessments that are a bit more objective. Because multiple symptoms can present in different conditions. So a person with autism probably autism in and of itself wouldn't cause emotional disassociation. It would cause it could be associated with alterations in emotional processing, particularly in social contexts. But I wouldn't anticipate a person with autism to be totally emotionally disassociated and numb. They would have variable emotional responses to situations depending on interest. And a delayed emotional response can be because in autism, I would expect to see, I might have a delayed emotional response because they're taking a little bit longer to process the stimuli in front of them, process the information around them before that leads to like the response. So that's the tricky part, is it's about like, the only true way to really know is to assess the person and the family and the context. Make someone good at emergency response type roles. I wouldn't want someone with emotional disassociation to be a paramedic. You would want someone that has, this is the interesting part, I guess you could say, is like low neuroticism, or to put it in less fancy terms, emotional stability. Emotional stability and emotional disassociation could almost visually manifest as the same thing when you're literally looking at the person. Like, if you get a person who's emotionally stable to witness a car crash, and then you get a person who is emotionally disassociated to witness a car crash, they might both look at it, and you put them on you can measure physiology in the skin. And they might have the same response to it, which is like very low, but for different reasons. So you would, to be a paramedic. Well, you take the example of a paramedic. A person that's a paramedic needs the skills that they need is they need to have a brain that's both fast and accurate. They don't really have to memorize a very broad amount of knowledge compared to like psychology and medicine, right? They would have to memorize probably a little bit about biology, right? Biochemistry and the basics of medicine, but it would pale in comparison to psychology and medicine, right? So their broad knowledge would be low, and their critical thinking skills probably would be average, But what they do need is they need the ability to process information quickly and accurately. It can't be a trade-off. It can't be high accuracy, low speed, or high speed, low accuracy. They need to have both, because obviously if they rock up to a car crash, they might have 5 minutes to get the person out, right? Like every second counts. And they probably need to have good visual acuity as well, because they need to literally look and see things, right? So the ability to be emotionally stable is literally a trait that can be trained, but it's just generally like the best for really anything, really. Like all domains of life benefit from someone that's stable emotionally. So there are some more of a rescue or firefighter or military roles I'd imagine paramedic would need empathy. Oh, well, that can help. Yeah. Like the basic skills are like processing speed and stuff. Like an empathy, like communication skills and all that crap. Yeah. Like you can train that. Like I guess the angle I'm taking is the genetic angle, which is like some human brains are just faster than others, right? So like if I was to hire a paramedic, I would need someone that just has a brain that's wired to be fast and accurate, and all the other stuff they can just be trained on. I wouldn't necessarily need someone that has a vast knowledge. They don't really need a vast general knowledge. And you can train all the other stuff like communication and empathy or whatever. A firefighter would need to be, their processing speed probably doesn't need to be as high, but it still would need to be high. A firefighter would just need basically the same traits, I would say, as a paramedic. They need to be able to process information quickly, organize themselves rapidly, have good organization skills, be focused and alert. I think an ability to have a good sustained attention span would be needed for a firefighter, much like a paramedic, because you need to be able to focus on the situation for a prolonged period. So you need someone that's probably physically healthy as well, because if you're out in the bushfires, they could be out there for you're out there for as long as until you put the fire out, right? So you need to basically have someone that's physically able to do that. They can go the distance, they can go the miles. I don't know where I'm going, so I'm just going to keep running around aimlessly until I find it. Yeah, because you would need someone that can go the distance, because the fire wouldn't just magically stop, I would imagine, right? You would have to fight it, right? So for a firefighter in military roles, I would examine the person's physical attributes and as well. Yeah, that's emotional stability would be required as well, because in the face of danger, you would anticipate a person's amygdala or whatever, their primal instinct mechanisms to kick in to keep them alive. So you would want someone that, although their primal instincts in the amygdala and whatever, the fear system is going to kick in, then their executive functioning abilities, so their emotional stability will kick in too. If their anxiety is going up, their emotional stability system will kick in to cut it so that they remain stable under pressure. Yeah, I'll find the way. It'll be like a door. You need someone that has good endurance. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So you need someone that's, for a firefighter, I would probably hinge more on physical attributes. That's where you'd get a lot of mileage, because you need to carry the fire hose, and you're in the uniforms that would be pretty heavy, right? And you need to not smoke, I imagine, as well, so that you can sort of jog when there's smoke around, I guess, and ash. You probably need to have pretty good decision-making skills, because it's it's life and death, right, with the fire. So you need someone that can, I guess, the lead firefighter, the most experienced, the senior, would probably do all the planning. But yeah, you'd probably need some pretty good planning skills as well.
The letters, they're not lined up. Unforgivable. Sounds about right.
So does that kind of answer the question? You would want someone that, planning, emotional regulation, physical attributes. Good able to see. Oh, you're back. We're on your main. I found that people whose anxiety goes up make mistakes. Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, self-discipline and focus. So yeah, you definitely wouldn't want someone that's got trauma. Like, you definitely wouldn't want someone that's got trauma or PTSD doing like a firefighter or like an emergency situation role, because although they might appear disassociated, I can use an analogy to explain it. It's like why you would want someone that's got emotional disassociation in a emergency service role. I'll use an analogy. It's like, logically, although it's effective for some people, logically, you wouldn't use alcohol to fix nervousness, although it kind of works, right? You just wouldn't, right? And it's the same thing with like an emotionally disassociated person. To put them in an emergency role, like, it makes kind of a little bit of logical sense. You know, they might be able to control their emotions or whatever, and they won't get like freaked out. But it's kind of like using a band-aid solution, if that kind of makes sense. Like alcohol. Like, you wouldn't use alcohol to fix anxiety. Like, it probably would work for some people, but you just wouldn't, because it can slur other things like judgment, right? And it's not practical, because if your person has anxiety, and let's say their anxiety is like all the time, they can't be drinking all the time, right? I mean, some people will say, I'm gonna just drink whenever I want. I'm like, whatever, fine, whatever. You'll catch up with you eventually. The liver can only take so much. Everybody and every organ, the only thing in the human body that can't self-heal is teeth. But eventually, even the liver starts to help be able to fix itself. It's interesting, isn't it? Every part of your human body can fix itself except the teeth. Teeth are the only thing that the body doesn't have any mechanisms to fix it. One guy brought unleaded fuel onto the fireground when he was asked for the drip torch. Yeah. Decision-making skills is important too. And also, a firefighter, much like a paramedic, they would have to be like work in a team, right? So you need someone that's, I wouldn't necessarily say empathy is required. It's helpful, but what is required is cooperation. And empathy and cooperation can be separated. You don't have to like people to treat them correctly, and vice versa. So yeah, you need someone that can make has some good decision-making skills, and also they're not like gonna fight the team, because you don't have very long. Like 10 firefighters rock up onto the forest and it's like being cooked. You can't have one guy being like, nah bro, I'm gonna do my own thing, gets the vape out and be like, nah, I'll do my own thing. It's like, nah, yeah, you have to work as like a team, right? Cooperation is important. Yeah. The relationship psychology research tells me that of all of the different traits or whatever, or just in general, like, emotional stability is like one of the biggest predictors of success across like every domain in life. Go Todd, like, and you know, everyone experiences emotions, obviously, right? But it's like, the key idea is the ability to manually decrease the emotion. That's really what stability is, isn't it? You're just manually decreasing it. If anger is going up automatically, you want to manually bring it down. If anxiety is going up automatically, you want to manually bring it down. That's literally what emotional stability is. The ability to switch your emotions from automatic to manual, which can be trained. And everyone's different in how they train it. Some are more cognitive, some are more behavioral, and some are more like emotional, physiological. So you can train it, but that's literally like one of the biggest predictors. And age helps as well, for both genders actually. I'm gonna go make another coffee, so y'all can chat for a bit. I'm gonna go make another coffee while you. G'day, Prin. I'm gonna go make a coffee, so you chat with the people in the chat, and I'll be back. It will take like 5 minutes. Hopefully you're still there when I get back.